They say a woman's mind is a mystery, but there are things her body reveals in the most intimate of moments, things no man ever expects. Not moans, not wild movements, but subtle, profound signals that if you don't truly listen, you'll completely miss. Do you know that just a slight tremble in her toes, a dreamy gaze, or a faint shift in breath could reveal something real, something she would never say out loud? Here's the truth. During intimacy, a woman is not just having sex. She's communicating with her body, her nerves, her wordless waves of emotion. And the curious part, most men never notice. So, what if there was a way for you to truly understand what's happening not just in bed, but in the hidden world within her? Would you want to discover it? Come with me bit by bit, signal by sig. Also, you can be more than just the man she sleeps with. You can be the one she deeply connects with. If you've ever seen a strange look in her eyes after a climax, if you've ever wondered, am I missing something? Then this video is for you. Shall we begin? A man once told me a story. It sounded simple at first, but the more I listened, the more I saw myself reflected in it. He said, "There was a time when my wife reached climax, and I didn't hear her moan or see her body tense up like people describe. But I saw something strange. Her toes trembled slightly, as if they wanted to say something, but were being held back deep inside." He wasn't smiling when he said it. His eyes were distant. I never thought an orgasm could show up in someone's toes. But I looked closely, and I knew she was real. I wasn't surprised. That's something even science is starting to acknowledge. When a woman orgasms, there's a unique reflexstony, but true a gentle tremor in the toes. Not everyone has it, and not every time. But if you're attentive, if you're truly present in that moment, you'll realize a woman's body never lies. Why the toes? Because they're the very end of the nerve pathways, the final touch point for that wave of emotion flowing from her mind into her body. When the body can no longer contain the feeling, it finds a way to escape, and sometimes it's through that delicate tremble in her toes. Small but honest. I think many men don't notice. Not because they're careless, but because they're too focused on performing, on doing it right. Meanwhile, the woman is right there, full of emotion, full of signals, but quiet like the waves of the night sea. If you don't listen, you'll never know. I used to think sex was just about the body, until I saw a woman's toes tremble. In that moment I realized, the body doesn't just speak of pleasure, it speaks the truth. And I began to ask myself, how many precious moments have I missed simply because I wasn't present enough? What about you? Have you ever noticed such a small sign? If not, maybe it's time you sit still and listen with your whole heart. Because love doesn't always lie in big things. It often begins with the tiniest of tremblesat, the tips of her toes. Are you taking this in? If not, share your thoughts in the comments. Perhaps there's a woman out there wishing you'd listen gently like this. I once spoke with an older man, someone who had loved deeply more than once. He said, "There was a moment when I looked into her eyes and knew we weren't just physically close. We were somewhere sacred where there was no right or wrong, no past, no even me anymore." I asked him, "When was that?" He paused, then said, "Just before she climaxed." Her eyes seemed to melt. I saw a space in them, not empty, but like the world had stopped. This isn't just poetic. Science has proven that just before orgasm, something extraordinary happens. A woman's pupils dilate. Not because of light, but because the parts of her brain that manage reason, judgment, and fear go silent. Yes, your body turns off all the noise, leaving only surrender. In that moment, she no longer thinks, "Am I pretty? Am I doing it right?" Or, "Does he truly love me?" She is no longer her as you know her. She becomes pure emotion, raw, flowing, instinctive. and her eyes are the first to reveal it. I've seen that look. It's like no gaze in ordinary life. No calculation, no defense, no control. Just depth so deep you feel if you look long enough, you might fall in. And in that fall, you don't just see pleasure, you see trust. Absolute trust. It doesn't happen with just anyone, and not every time. But when it does, if you're sensitive, you'll know. The woman before you is handing over her most fragile self through her eyes. I've realized something. We don't always need to understand women fully, but we do need to be present enough to recognize when they're being real. That look can't be faked. It's the most honest language of a woman in love with her body and her soul. Have you ever seen that gaze? If you have, cherish it. If you haven't, maybe you just need to look a little closer. Because sometimes, it's not that she doesn't want you to see, it's that you haven't truly paused to look. Can you feel it? If not, comment below. But if you can never underestimate a single look, it may be the quietest "I love you" she ever gives you. I once heard a man whisper during a rare moment of openness, "I don't know why she cried, after we had such a beautiful night. No arguments, no pain, no reason for tears. But she lay still, her eyes red, and whispered, 'I'm fine. Just give me a moment.'" He panicked, because he didn't understand. And I know many men have felt that helplessness when the woman they love cries after climax. Not out of anger, not sadness, just tears. But you know what? It's not because she's weak, or that you did something wrong. It's because the emotion became too full, so full her body couldn't hold it anymore. So it flowed out as tears. Science calls it post-orgasmic tears. When dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin flood her system after emotional climax, they don't just make her happy, they can awaken old buried pain too. Like rain that not only nourishes but also stirs up hidden dust, those tears are a release. I used to think tears meant sorrow. But sitting beside a woman crying softly after love, I finally understood. Sometimes, tears are thank yous, are surrender, are her way of saying, "I trust you enough to be this vulnerable." For women, pleasure isn't just about the body. It's a return to self, and sometimes, in that ecstasy, they touch corners they hide in daily life. A hug isn't always enough, nor are words. Only deep, genuine sex can melt those layers of ice. So, if you ever see a woman cry after intimacy, don't panic. Don't bombard her with questions. Don't leave. Hold her. And be quiet for a while. Because those tears don't need explanations. They need warmth too. Let her know she's safe. Have you seen such tears? If you have, honored them. If not, don't worry. As long as you love someone with your whole heart, one day, you will see them. Post-orgasm tears are not sadness. They are a form of the deepest love. Have you experienced this? If you want, share. Sometimes, it's this quiet understanding that makes you a greater man. I once heard a deeply honest story from a woman in her 40s. She spoke slowly, but with emotion. I don't know why, but every time I swallowed the semen of someone I truly loved, I felt something flow through my body. It wasn't lust, it felt like a deep connection, so strong it brought tears to my eyes. I sat in silence. Because I understood this wasn't something people discuss at cafes or casual dinners. This was a deeply private and deeply true part of a woman who had truly opened her heart. You see, after swallowing semen, a woman's body changes not just biologically, but on a deeper level. Emotionally, energetically, even spiritually. Many men don't notice it, because there's no dramatic movement, no loud words, just softer eyes, a calmer breath, a sacred stillness. If you aren't attuned, you'll miss it. Seminate may sound crude, but in truth, it contains over 50 biological compounds, Serotonin, melatonin, testosterone, oxytocin. It's not just life essence. It's a mirror reflecting a man's lifestyle, his emotions, his inner state. If you're tense, exhausted, or bitter, your body says it through your semen. And if you're healthy, grounded, and emotionally clear, a woman will feel that too. Not through words, but through her entire body. She may not say it, but her eyes will. Her shoulders may soften. Her breath may slow. A subtle tilt of the head like she's receiving something sacred. Because for women, swallowing is not merely physical. It's an act of full trust, of complete consent from body and soul. If you're lucky enough to witness that look in her eyes, the one that appears when she receives all of you, please, don't take it lightly. Don't think it's just sex. Because women don't cross that line with just anyone. Only when they feel completely safe, deeply connected, only then will their body and spirit allow it. I used to think men only needed strength. But after seeing the way a woman looked at a man after that moment, I realized real power is in subtlety, in listening. Sex isn't about conquest. It's about presence. What about you? Have you ever noticed such a look? One that says, I'm receiving you, not just with my mouth, but with my trust? If not, maybe what you need isn't better technique, but deeper sincerity. And if you've seen, cherish it. Because not everyone gets to. Not every woman dares to be that vulnerable. I once had a long talk with a divorced woman. She said, back then, after we were intimate, I sometimes felt this strange warmth and stillness inside. Not because he said sweet things. Not because of the cuddles. But because after I swallowed, it felt like fog lifting from my body. I didn't ask questions. I just listened. Because I knew she was telling the truth. And the truth she told is something most people never notice. Semen isn't just about reproduction or pleasure. It can touch the deepest corners of a woman's emotional world in ways that are both invisible and deeply felt. Science now affirms this. Semen contains over 50 biological compounds that directly affect mood, emotion, and the nervous system. Serotonin soothes. Melatonin regulates sleep. Oxytocin bonds. Testosterone energizes. When a woman receives it, especially orally, her body reacts as if she's taken in a microdose of emotional chemistry, like a gentle but powerful love potion. Of course, not everyone feels it immediately. Some feel oddly peaceful. Some feel comforted. Some feel like they've dissolved into lightness. It doesn't come from logic. It comes from instinct. And it's real. But the most delicate truth is this. The reaction changes based on the quality of the man. If you live in stress, eat poorly, harbor anger, your body produces a very different kind of semen. And though she won't say it, she will feel it. Some call it bitter. Some say, it just won't go down. What they're really describing is energy. The energy carried within semen and passed into the woman who receives it. I once asked a woman, can you feel the difference? She replied softly, of course. I can't explain it. But sometimes I feel comforted. Other times, I feel heavy, like I've just swallowed someone else's sadness. That answer left me quiet for a long time, because I realized, as men, we don't just give our body. We're sending our moods, our habits, the deepest parts of us through something that seems so small. Have you thought about that? That maybe, after a night of closeness, she smiles because she felt safe inside you. Or she stays quiet because her body is trying to digest the heavy energy you unknowingly gave her. And once you understand this, you may start living differently. Not just for her, but for yourself. Because when you care for your body and your soul, you're not just healthier. You make love cleaner, deeper, more real. I once had tea with an old friend of mine who'd lived a stormy youth. He told me, earnestly, There was a time I was a wreck. Alcohol, stress, cigarettes. I still had sex regularly. But I noticed women stopped looking at me with that gentle gaze afterward. I didn't get it until one girl said to my face, "I swallowed, and it tasted bitter, like something heavy and dark was inside you." I went silent, not because the story was strange, but because it was true. We often think semen is just sperm, but it's actually liquid life. It carries your diet, your stress, even your sleep habits. Each time you ejaculate, you give more than fluid. You give a snapshot of your entire inner world. Good semen isn't about volume or force. It's about energy, whether the woman feels nourished, connected, soothed. Bad semen can leave her drained, quiet, or sadly uneasy. A peaceful man who eats well, sleeps deep, avoids bitter neshi's semen is light, easy to receive. A man consumed by chaos or anger body releases something thick, dense, and quietly disturbing. Sound spiritual? It's not. It's science. Each drop contains over 50 bioactive compound traces of your health, your hormones, even your nervous balance. You think you're giving your body, but you're actually giving her a live sample of your life. My friend, after changing his lifestyle, told me, "I didn't need to be better in bed. I just needed to be healthy and honest." Now, their eyes after feel softer. I believe him, because women don't always speak it, but their bodies never lie. If you bring heaviness, they feel it. If you bring presence, they'll open. Once, I met a man over 60 at a men's health talk. He sat quietly for a long time until I happened to say the phrase, "Sex is energy." That's when he looked up, eyes wet, and said something I'll never forget. "I lost my wife 3 years ago. What I miss most isn't the physical closeness. It's the way she looked at me afterward, like I had just warmed some hidden place in her heart." You see, sex, if it's only about pleasure, fades quickly. But if you can feel the energy being exchanged between two people in that moment, it becomes therapy. A silent thank you, even a sacred bridge. A woman's body is incredibly sensitive to the energy a man brings during intimacy. It's not about technique. It's about presence. Are you truly there? Are you connecting, or just passing over her skin? A loving touch can make a woman's heart open completely. A sincere gaze can bring her to tears. And your full presence in every breath, every motion, every embrace can make her feel truly seen, not by your eyes, but by your soul. I've heard women say, "It's not that he's skilled. It's that when I'm with him, I feel safe enough to be myself." That's what real energetic connection creates. Not flashy, not loud, but lasting, deep, unshakable. And men? They've told me, after loving a woman with full honesty and kindness, I feel healed, like I just walked through soft rain and my soul came out cleaner. You see, sex isn't technique. It's how we touch each other, not just with our hands, but with kindness and respect. The energy you bring into her body will echo back to you through her eyes, her softness, her breath after. If the woman beside you feels cold after love, maybe it's not that she's distant. Maybe it's the energy you gave that lost its warmth. So live cleanly. Love with presence. Don't just think about having sex. Think about connecting. Only then will a woman truly open her soul to you, and you'll feel something deeper than pleasure. Resonance in every cell. Sex, if reduced to pleasure, is fleeting. But if you begin to see it as a meeting of two emotional worlds, a moment of raw giving and receiving, then every touch becomes a journey. A woman doesn't need you to understand her entire body. She doesn't need you to be a master, but she deeply hopes that you're present enough to notice the small signals she offers. Her eyes, a toe's tremble, or a nameless tear. True sex is not about doing it right. It's about feeling it right. Feeling that when you give, you offer not just your body, but your soul. Feeling that when she opens, it means she trusts you deeply enough to let her guard fall, to let herself be soft and real in your arms. And do you see? All the real moments in sex are quiet, unflashy. They happen in silence and last only seconds. But if you're attentive, you won't miss them, because you'll understand. When she lets you inside, it's not just her body, it's her heart, her soul, her deepest faith in you. I used to think youth was the golden age of sex. But now, after much pain and many lessons, I believe only when you slow down, live honestly, and care for yourself, can you give the kind of sex that doesn't aim to impress, but to connect. And if you're still here, at the end of this video, maybe something deep inside you is stirring too. Maybe it's an old memory, a feeling you couldn't name, or just a sigh from realizing how many signals you once missed. I didn't make this video to make anyone feel guilty. I simply hope that whether you're a man or woman, you'll start looking at each other with deeper eyes, touch with more respect, and love with sex that heals, not harms. If this story touched you, please leave a comment, share your experience, or simply write, "I understand now," because every word from you tells me that these quiet, sacred truths still matter, that someone out there is still listening. And if you believe this is worth sharing, hit subscribe, turn on the bell. Let's make sure these stories don't fall into silence. I'll return with deeper, more honest, more vital topics for those who still believe that true love still has value. At any age, are you still listening? If so, thank you for walking this quiet road with me. See you in the next video, where the things no one dares to say will be spoken with kindness, because the deepest love always begins in stillness.